Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Borders. I'm Mike N. That's Extremo Alex Soto. This week we are breaking down our preview for LUX Fight League 24 right in Alex's backyard of Tijuana. He might stumble home. He might just stay at a relative's house. We don't even know how he's getting home that night. But we do know it's probably the easiest travel he's had for any of LUX's fight shows. But before we get to that, make sure you check out fightersfirst.shop. Support the brand. Let our apparel be a part of your story. Of course, go check out the Extremo collection. Support Alex and support all the fighters. Fightersfirst.shop. Now, Alex, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Right in your backyard. Of course, we missed last week because of July 4th and my wife's birthday. She wants me to make sure I tell everybody it was her birthday. So, happy birthday to my wife. That was last week. They celebrate all month long. So.
That's true.
But back to the important stuff. And not that my wife's birthday is not important. I'm gonna get so much trouble.
That's important, dude. You might
so much trouble. But LUX Fight League coming up in your backyard. We had a late change. Originally, it was supposed to be Polo Reyes versus Jose Ruelas. Polo Reyes got dengue. I guess it's not COVID, so it's something different. But he's out for at least 10 days, so LUX Fight League had to switch things up. In comes Lazy Boy Rodríguez, who just fought maybe a month ago, not even, maybe 2 months ago at the most, fighting Vic Moreno in a bantamweight clash. That's going to be our main event. We also got Luis Pantera Guerrero versus Andrés Leal. We also got Dominguez, who just signed an extension with the promotion. So a lot of fun fights. We got our Challenger Series, of course, as well, including a couple fighters making their pro debut, which is pretty cool. Alex, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the main event, our late substitution. Have you heard anything more about the Polo Reyes situation, or is it is he going to be back sometime soon?
Yeah, they're going to try to rebook the fight. If you notice, they didn't rebook Ruelas with a last minute replacement for him. So I think this fight's going to happen. I just think it might get pushed over to Guadalajara on the next event, or the Monterrey fight card. But we'll have to see how that turns out. It would have been great to see Polo fight in Tijuana, where his where his training camp is, with all his people are at, and see the kind of crowd we're going to be pulling in the new arena. Really, is where it's going to be fighting in Tijuana.
Well, I mean, if this event is huge, they might rebook it sooner than later.
Yeah.
So he might have a chance pretty soon anyway. But we hope he heals up quickly, has a healthy recovery and everything. Polo Reyes. It's so weird here in dengue. I guess the equivalent here in the United States is maybe West Nile, another mosquito-borne fever type disease. But dengue is for those that don't know, mosquito-borne disease, more in tropical countries where it's really extreme, like weather, warm weather and stuff like that. You don't see it very often. It's very rare, but I'm sure it's almost I don't know if it's a relief or not, but when you go to get, you feel sick and you go to get tested and it's not COVID, anything at this point is better than that. But like I said, we hope Reyes gets healed up soon, gets back to action. But instead, we got a pretty a banger of a main event. We know what Lazy Boy Rodríguez does. We know Vic Moreno comes to bang too. Please tell us what you expect out of this main event.
Yeah, so first of all, Lazy Boy is one of the guys that has just started to really pique interest amongst the casual, LUX fans, because he puts on great shows, man. And he has had that opportunity. He's been called on to the Contender Series, and where he lost a split decision. So he's a really tough guy to put out. He's also he's got some heavy hands, man. He puts out his guys, and he's really fun to watch because he also shows a lot of killer instinct. One of the things I like to look at when I'm looking at fighters is that one thing that sets him apart from the others is how well is he in trying to finish the fight when he sees that opportunity. And Lazy Boy's got that, man. He's got that crazy killer instinct. He's really, really difficult to put out and put away. And so this is kind of a huge ask now for Vic Moreno, who's stepping up with 4 wins, 0 losses, and also from from Colombia too. So he's, been asked for a really, really, really tough opponent here, and it's a big test for him to see if he can try to put out Lazy Boy. But man, it's going to be a really exciting matchup. I think it's going to be the night of the bantamweights for this fight card.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3 bantamweight fights on the card, including the top 2 matchups in the main and co-main event. Vic Moreno is like one of those guys who comes in, he doesn't have a huge number of fights. He's only 4 fights in. He is undefeated. Coming against a guy like Lazy Boy Rodríguez, who just had the big win against Cesar Vasquez, which was a huge test for him, and he made it look easy. He just ran right through Cesar. If you had to make a pick, do you think it's obviously favoring Lazy Boy in this fight because of the experience?
Yeah, I think Lazy Boy takes one in. I think it's going to be the first loss for Vic Moreno because Lazy Boy, like I'm telling you, man, he's the guy that's been on the radar in the 135-pound division. And just recently, he made a huge statement when it beat Cesar Vasquez. Is now, boom, he got everybody's attention. And now he's going to be headlining against Vic Moreno in what I think it's going to be a perfect performance. It's a great matchup for him. A great opportunity for him to be on the UFC Fight Pass card and get another look at for him. 13 fights, 2 losses. I mean, the guys, I think the losses, one was a split decision loss and the other one was a unanimous decision on the Contender Series. But aside from that, he has essentially just dominated every opponent he's had in front of him. So it'll be a great opportunity for him to really showcase his abilities. And if Vic Moreno comes in and delivers a hell of a performance, can make a statement at 135 pounds for the LUX Fight League.
And don't get mistaken, both of these guys have a quick turnaround. Like I just remember. So Lazy Boy fought in end of May, and Vic Moreno fought the first week of June. So both these guys within a month and a half are doing a turnaround, which is always kind of interesting when it comes to weight cuts for a lot of these lighter fighters, because some of these fighters cut 20, 30 pounds, maybe more, to get down to these lighter weight classes. And if you just cut it and then all of a sudden you go and have some hamburgers and go have some tacos and go have some, some donuts and everything else, or like Daniel Cormier's, he always had to have his wings and Popeyes after his fights. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you want me to fight again? And I haven't had a full camp. I think Lazy Boy's looking at this as another opportunity to, get himself back to Dana White's Contender Series, get himself back to that spotlight. And he's not going to say no to a main event. And then Vic Moreno is looking for an opportunity at all. 4-0, gets a chance at a main event way early in his career. Yep. First time fighting on somewhat of a grand stage because he's fought in lower promotions and more regional promotions and stuff like that. So it's going to be a banger. Both guys come to fight. I, too, think Lazy Boy's probably got the edge in this one just because of his experience. And we just don't know much about Vic Moreno. We know, I've seen a couple highlights on YouTube. He definitely comes to stand and bang. But, anything can happen in a fight, and it's going to be interesting. So, you love your bantamweights, so they're always going to come with a lot of fire and energy and excitement. So, over in the co-main event, we have Luis Pantera Guerrero versus Andrés Leal. Both guys got quite a bit of experience. We haven't seen Guerrero since I want to say it was LUX 9.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, he's fought a couple other. He fought in Budo. He's fought in Jungle Fight League and done some other stuff. But he's back in LUX Fight League fighting against Leal. What do you expect in this one?
Well, I think Andrés Leal, with the amount of experience that he has, he's been kind of inconsistent, really. I mean, if you look at his record, he's been win, loss, win, loss, 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 win, loss, win, loss, kind of situation on this. But he started a really good career in his amateurs, and then into. Sorry, I got disconnected there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
My bad.
Alex is always so important for us. I know.
I'm always on there. No, but that being said, though, he's always thrown some really competitive matches, and he's got tons of experience. However, when you got that kind of tempo, that kind of off tempo where you're winning and losing, winning and losing, winning and losing, it gives a lot of you get exposed essentially. And I think Luis Pantera Guerrero could have an opportunity here if he studied him, if he looked at the card, see what his weaknesses are. He might have the ability to really capitalize on some of the weights he has lost recently too, because he has been very active as well. So how I see this fight going, I think Luis Guerrero might be taking a win on this one. I think it's a good opportunity for him in the co-main event. So let's see how that turns out.
I think it's obvious that Guerrero is probably favored in this one quite a bit. But I will say, when you have a fighter like Leal that has kind of a helter-skelter record and kind of just comes to fight, and win or lose, he's dangerous because he doesn't have anything to lose. You're not expecting Leal to come out here and put on a world-class show and get that call up to the UFC or something like that. Like, this guy is here for a purpose, and he knows it. He knows if he loses, it's not a big deal. He's going to go out and have fun after the fight anyway. But if he wins, now all of a sudden you're talking about something. So fighters like that are super dangerous because you don't know what to expect. You expect them to just like roll over, and they're fighters. They're not going to do that. Also, another Colombian, by the way. Colombians are taking over this card. It's Colombia versus Mexico, part like dos in this fight. But both bantamweight fights are Mexico versus Colombia, which is ironic. But that said, like I said, Leal has a very checkered past. He's lost 4 out of 6, 3 out of his last 4 fights. And not even like decisions. A lot of them he's been stopped and stuff. So, it's a potential for Guerrero to have a big fight, a big night, and make a name for himself. He's 7-3. He's got a good record. We've talked about that bantamweight division being up for grabs for a number of times. So you never know who's going to be the next challenger for the title, and they're looking for him. So, we already talked about like all these fighters getting these call-ups. Alessandro Costa, the first Dana White Contender Series coming up soon. He's on that card. So a lot of these guys, they know the spotlight's on them, so it's time to shine. And so another one for Guerrero.
Yeah, I think one of the guys that is up in that conversation is David Mendoza. El León, the Lion, if you say. He'll be, he's one of the top guys, even though he had a crack at twice at Marco Beltran, wasn't able to really secure it. But I think it just shows to Beltran's, experience in the cage and just his talent as well. But
also a former UFC fighter. Like, Beltran's not a slouch. Like, if you're going to lose to somebody, it's not going to hurt your resume when you lose to a guy who fought 3 times in the UFC.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who also fought like a murderer's row of fighters when he was in the UFC.
Yep. So, exactly. No, I agree with you there, Mike. I think that's a great point. And when we're talking about that, Leal is also, like you said, nothing to lose, man. So it's gonna be trouble. It's not gonna be an easy fight, man. It's never an easy fight with these guys. Never. Every time you're stepping in there, everybody's got that chance, which is what I like about the sport, man. I'm always enjoying that aspect of it, because you just never know in MMA, right?
Yeah, and you got the bantamweight division, which is, like you said, just wide open, and everybody's looking for that next one. You mentioned, David Mendoza, his path is now kind of wide open because, like you said, Beltran's going probably to bare knuckle or something like that after he gets his surgery and stuff recovered and everything, because he had surgery after the fight. So there's a lot of guys stepping up, trying to get that spot, and it'll be interesting. Also on the card, we got Alan Dominguez. We talked about him quite a bit. You got that lightweight division. Draco Cossio is going to need a new opponent. Could it be Alan Dominguez, who just signed an extension? That could be somebody. He's fighting against up-and-coming fighter Rojas. You expect anything other than Dominguez kind of dominating that fight?
Man, yeah, El Tiburón Blanco, the great white shark, I guess you would say. Yeah, man. I as of right now, you're looking at it on paper. 6-4 for Alan Dominguez. 10 fights to his name against a guy who has half as many fights with Leonel Rojas. Does it say where he's from? Actually, where Rojas is from? I forget.
I haven't seen. You give me a second. I could pull it up though. Little upset at Tapology this episode because they did not have that card ready for us. So we are figuring things out. Argentina.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, this is happening in Tijuana, this fight. So, we see the we've seen a lot of Argentinian fighters go train in Tijuana. A lot of Colombian fighters are training in Tijuana. A lot of fighters from Venezuela are also in Tijuana. So it's quite the collection of fighters that are already stationed, if you will, in Tijuana. So this fight is really like everybody has been training there. So there's not a lot of big changes to their training camp and travel. So they don't have to do a lot of travel. So everything's at home for these guys. Now that being said, Alan Dominguez is coming to Tijuana, and he's going to try to make a statement here against Rojas. And I can tell you one thing: the guys that are traveling from their home countries to Tijuana to just train mixed martial arts, these guys have talent. These guys have a lot of background in the martial arts, either being Taekwondo, judo, and boxing. And so when they're out there, and I see that is a flag for me that says, okay, these guys have given up on their hometown or whatever it is that we're working on to really travel to Tijuana and put it all on the line and go chase this dream of this goal of theirs, aspirations. So when I look at these guys and, we see a record of 2-3, it ain't about the record, man. These guys are tough dudes. So I'm expecting, Alan Dominguez to get surprised here from Rojas.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is Alan Dominguez wants another shot at Draco, right? Like he had that shot a couple fights ago and then came out against David Briones and was very impressive against David Briones. You're talking about the time we were looking at it. Oh, here's this 5-4 fighter against David Briones. Briones got that lineage with his family and stuff. You thought this is gonna be a good fight. And Alan Dominguez kind of made that look easy. Like he was very impressive in that fight. And coming off, he gave Draco a fight. He gave Draco a fight when they fought. So he wants another shot. That belt is currently vacant because of the whole weight cut situation with Draco Cossio. So he could be in that situation to maybe get another shot for that belt. Come out here, this card, be impressive. They're trying to put on a big show for Tijuana, and it's going to be something to watch. You never can sleep. Like just said the last fight with Leal, you can never sleep on an opponent, especially when they have nothing to lose. And Alan Dominguez just signed that extension with the promotion. He's got everything to lose because now they're like, okay, you're one of the guys we trust. Let's go out there. So they put a monkey on his back. He's got the pressure now. So we'll see if he performs.
Yeah, let's see. This is a good opportunity for him to do it. And I just hope he doesn't come in too cocky into this fight because, I feel like he was sleeping when he fought Draco Cossio a little bit. It got a little bit too complacent there with that where he placed his head and ended up getting stuck in that nasty guillotine choke from Draco Cossio. So, I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think it's going to be a matchup that will be interesting to see, especially seeing that talent from outside of the country. Seeing guys from Colombia and Argentina. So that's why I'm always asking. It's like, where is he from? Oh, okay. He's one of those guys that traveled because he's taking it to the next level.
And also, that's a weakness of Dominguez too. Both his losses have been getting caught in a choke. Like he got caught in a rear naked choke earlier in his career. He got caught by Draco with the guillotine. So, if there's a weakness, maybe it's the scramble and the grappling. He definitely loves to stand and bang. So, as any other MMA fighter, you're always evolving. Maybe he's learned those lessons. Maybe he's tightened some of those things up. Like I said, he looked great against Briones. So we'll see what happens with this guy. Somebody, once again, nothing to lose because nobody knows who he is. He's coming out of nowhere. He doesn't even have a Tapology page.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I saw his Facebook page. That's how I know he's from Argentina.
Right.
So those guys are dangerous. Like you said, a lot of fighters have these long resumes of fights that aren't on Tapology. They aren't on SureDog. They aren't tracked anywhere because they're fighting in regional promotions around their home countries. You don't know how many. He could have 5 fights on pro record, could have 15 fights you never saw him fight. So definitely be interesting to see that one. Also on the card, you got Juan Pablo González versus Uriel Cossio. Speaking of Cossio, Uriel's the cousin, right?
Yeah.
You also got Diego Ortis versus Christian Cerda. Uriel Uribe versus Alejandro Villarreal. Anything stand out to you in those other 3 fights that we should watch out for?
I just like Uriel Uribe. I think he's a really exciting. We've seen him fight several times, so I'm excited to see him back on the card at the 125 pounds. I'm always interested on the 125ers only because who's gonna fight Alessandro Nono Acosta?
Nono might not be coming back.
He might not be coming back.
He's got
but
Dana White's Contender Series coming. He might not be coming back. He might be on the way to the UFC.
But that's no guarantee, right? I mean, we saw that with Diego Lopez, right? When
I think he's got a pretty good shot, but
yeah, I still think he's got a good shot. Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping Diego Lopez gets
that's a special dude. That's a special dude. Nono's a special dude.
Yeah. So when I'm looking at a 125 pounder, like, Diego Terror, is he going to be able to bring that in? Is Christian Cerda going to bring it up? Is he going to be that next level 125er who's going to put up some numbers here, like Nono Acosta? I don't know. So when I look at that 125 division, to me, it's interesting because of that. Like, what are the opportunities on that? I feel that UFC needs to embed a little bit more of 125 pounders, guys that are exciting, like Nono Acosta, guys that are going to be bringing in some high level, really exciting matchups. So I want to see more 125ers. I want to see more flyweights get in there and get in that call and get that division in the UFC a little bit thicker.
I mean, it's the time too, right? You're talking about Moreno and Cara France. You're talking about Figueiredo. You're talking about all those guys getting a shot, and Alex Perez and Pantoja and all those guys. So they're starting to really focus on that division. It'd be a good time because that division was almost dead a couple years ago.
Right.
So, Moreno and Figueiredo reignited that division. You got people like Benavidez and them that have kind of retired and moved on. It's a time, it's a chance, an opportunity. I think that this card is all about opportunity. All these fighters right now are looking for a spotlight. Even in LUX Fight League, right? You have Beltran's going to bare knuckle and moving on. Nono Costa getting a shot at Dana White Contender Series. Bam Bam Valenzuela getting a shot at Dana White Contender Series. Who knows what Draco Castillo is going to do if he has continued issues with the weight cuts. Maybe it was a one-time thing. Maybe it wasn't. But, that's always a situation as fighters tend to evolve and get a little older and move into different things. Is he fighting 155? Does he go up to 170? That's they don't have a lot of competition for him at 170, but they can pull a couple names out of the hat. We've seen it over the last, few months. It's going to be interesting. And this card is all about that. LUX Fight League 24, all about giving opportunity. You got Lazy Boy in the main event because Polo Reyes got sick. So, it's all about opportunity. And props to Lazy Boy. Like, month out of his last fight, here he is right back in there. He jumped at it when they gave him the call. So, him and, Moreno. Moreno didn't have to take it either, but this is his chance at a main spotlight, a main card. So it's going to be some fun stuff going on. Anybody on the Challenger Series kind of stand out to you as somebody you might want to keep an eye on?
On the Challenger Series, man, it's funny because they put up such great fights. I would have to, again, we got Cesar Vasquez. He's going to be fighting against Kevin Chucky Fregoso. So Fregoso is a new guy that's coming into the the division at 135 pounds. So it's going to be you never know because a lot of the guys that are coming into this one are making their pro debuts. A lot of them are coming
up. We got two pro debuts. We got Alexis Miranda versus Brian Ulysses. Both of them are making their pro debuts.
Yeah, exactly. So I love to just watch these guys and just get entertained by seeing the amount of level that they're coming in now as their first fight, right? So keep an eye on these guys. I think our matchmaker, Henry Briones, does a fantastic job. He's not just picking out some random dudes and having them debut. He's debuting them for a reason. And debuting them because these guys are coming up with some high-level mixed martial arts.
Yeah, I love what the Challenger Series does. It does remind me a lot of what here in the States, CFFC does in the Northeast. So a lot of those, they mix some of the amateur fights and stuff early on in the cards, and then they do some up and coming pro debuts, and then of course the main card stack with people who are trying to get to the UFC. And I love what LUX is doing with the Challenger Series with this one, taking it, just giving all these fighters a spotlight, chance to shine. You see it with Bellator a lot. Bellator does it with some of their kids making debuts and stuff like that. It's a different world. You had to sit there and fight on an Indian reservation and these guys are getting getting the spotlight on a national network like UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, they're ESPN Plus, and
the world has changed, Alex.
It's crazy, man. It's wonderful, man. It's great to see, man. It really is.
So a couple things before we get out of here. Obviously, July 15th, check out LUX Fight League 24. Right now, it's his backyard, Tijuana, Mexico. One, we talked about it before. You kind of usually don't get done with these shows till 1 a.m. Are you going to be like just hanging out at a relative's house that night instead of making that drive back to San Diego?
You know what? I might go straight home. So I might go. It's the crossing the border is the most. It's
How long does it take to cross the border?
It's anxiety throughout the entire time I'm in Mexico, enjoying myself, drinking beers, having some amazing food, and then just constantly thinking, oh, how long is the border wait going to be? How long is it going to be? And so I'm thinking Friday night at 1 a.m. crossing the border. It's not going to be too bad. So I'm hoping that I will be able to cross.
Everybody's going the other way. You hope everybody's going the other way across the border?
No, usually people would party in Tijuana on a Friday night, and then they coming back by 1 a.m. So I don't know.
That's a little early. Yeah, I know you West Coast people do things earlier, but
tourism has gone down coming from the United States into Tijuana in the last 10 years. So maybe it won't be as bad. I haven't crossed at 1 a.m. the border since my teenage years, so
it might be better to sleep in and go in the morning, but
it's the worst. Because then you sit in an 8-hour traffic,
for like a 45-minute drive
in the hot sun. It's not. It's almost better to go cooler at 1 a.m. Yes, you're tired, but you'll be getting home.
Well, I'm sure it's better than flying in and out of all the other places that they take you around. But then again, you don't get the extra day off of work either. So
that's true.
Like you're just driving to Tijuana. You're fine. You can stay to work today. In fact, why don't you stay an hour later and then go straight?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the news comes out and it's like, oh, like they say that don't go to Tijuana right now because they elevated the heightened of security out there, which doesn't mean anything. It looks the same to me. When you go down there.
Is there something going on, like gang activity or something like that? Or
yeah, I guess so. And when is it not?
We have to have a new season of Narcos somehow.
Yeah, that's true. We got to be part of the history there. Move.
Last thing before we get out of here, Versus is coming up soon. You got your $10,000 Muay Thai championship.
Yes.
Tell people about that. Tell them how they can watch. Tell them all that great stuff happening.
Oh, it's awesome, man. Well, I'm putting this together with Manolo Hernandez, Andy Murad, and myself. We got together and we've got this awesome tournament with 2 WBC champions in Muay Thai. There's 2 of them competing in the 4-man tournament. And we got guys from CSA Gym, guys from the AJ Matthews Gym. I mean, guys from like all this, like, it's just awesome, man. This is combination of these awesome athletes that'll be fighting Muay Thai, full Muay Thai rules. I mean, we're talking everything. All right. This is in your mom and pop's Muay Thai show. And it's gonna be fun, man. And so I've been having a blast going with the guys, doing the site surveys, getting everything set up, getting all the teams together. And it's gonna happen July 23rd at Sycuan Casino and Resort. And one night only, man. How are you gonna watch it? We're gonna have a production team that will be filming it. We won't be broadcasting it live because we'll probably see it on UFC Fight Pass in the future.
Okay, that's awesome. Any chance it gets uploaded to like a YouTube or anything afterwards?
Yeah, we'll probably do some YouTube stuff, and we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel as well. So keep an eye out for that. And like I said, the $10,000 on the line is the highest paid payout for Muay Thai fights around at least here in California.
Hey, looking forward to it. You got LUX Fight League this weekend, next weekend Versus. A lot going on for Alex Soto. Before we get out of here, make sure you check out Fighters First. Check out the Extremo collection. Help Alex pay off that $10,000 prize.
Yeah.
Oh, any final words this week, Alex?
That's it, my man. It's all good. I'm excited about getting the next 2 weekends through and successfully completed, and keep enjoying the fights, man.
All right. Well, for Extremo Alex Soto, I'm Mike N. This is Crossing Borders. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment, and enjoy the fights this weekend. Let Alex know anything he messes up on, because I just find it hilarious. That said, y'all have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week. We're out.